Welcome to Inner Peace Arts Unscripted. I'm your host, James Coleman. I write at innerpeacearts.wordpress.com, and I practice Inner Peace Arts, and that's what I do. It has a lot of applications and tentacles into a lot of things. Its foundation is in Christianity, and it extends out to a kind of a universal perspective. And I share that this morning because today is I'm extending that notion of agency, control, influence, talking about those things, and intention. It's not a word I've used a lot so far in these episodes, series, mini lectures, as you would have them. But intention is really, I guess, the focus for today, and its relationship to influence and control. The bottom line is, and though this is difficult for many to accept, especially many in spiritual circles, is that it's all about stuff. And I think I've said that before, but I'm saying it again because it bears repeating. It's all about stuff. It's about the way we go about manipulating stuff to meet our needs, to meet our perceived needs, to meet what we think is right. That's a kind of bottom line that's, cuts into what I am calling this universality, right? And is at the core of what we do. And hiding from that often, leads us to do things that are not in our best interest and not according to the biology which we have to deal with. Is, the thing we interact with in order to get things done. So it's all about stuff, and our intention is about stuff. And so how does that relate to agency? And I've touched on this before, I think, but I'm coming at it from a little different perspective today. If you want stuff and someone else has it, you have to get it from them, right? The way you get it from them has to agree with your being if you want to be healthy about it, and that's what I'm promoting. I'm not promoting doing things that are unhealthy for the body, unhealthy for the mind, the soul, the spirit, however you wanted to carve it up, divide it up. I want to operate in health, ecological health, and balanced health, and that means making repairs as the ship moves, right? If you want to get it from someone, you have to influence them. That influence, is said to be ethical when you get their agreement. And you get the agreement through, agreement, right? You hit this circle, right? And the means by which you do that are the means by which you get your stuff. You can either enter into an agreement on their terms, you can enter into agreement on your terms, you can negotiate for terms. There may be consciousness in that conscious awareness of the terms. There may or may not be conscious awareness of the terms. It gets complicated, and you say, well, what's ethically right? How much do I explain to this person that this interaction involves them giving of something and me taking it and transforming it and giving it back, and that they may not be aware of all the processes that I use, I may not be aware of all the processes that they use, that the negotiation may or may not be going in a way that they would want it to go. Like people don't consciously put themselves in situations that are not healthy for themselves. I don't think most people consciously do that. right? But it happens as a result of program that is already there. Is it right for me to hijack existing programming for my agenda? If I need to eat and it requires programming of your agenda, then, or hijacking, and it's not harming you, then, not harming, we'll put that in quotation marks, then it's okay. Listen, we live in a world where physical violence is highly controlled and frowned upon, but mental violence is okay. And you are mentally assaulted every day when you walk outside your house, when you turn on your TV, when you interact with people in places of authority. I don't need to go into it. If this is one of those things where people have written about it before, and if you don't get it, well, I'm not going to explain it here. You can call me, you can write me, we can have a conversation, and I will talk to you about those things. And thus there's a kind of, can you interact and get what you want without mental violence or taking advantage of programming that is there because of mental violence? You didn't put it there, right? But it's going to be used in order for you to get your stuff. I don't know what the right answer is, but I do know that all of us, and I'm going to say it, want stuff. And the means by which we go about getting it is important to us, and we have to be comfortable with those means. I'm just sharing what some of the implications of the actions are. And I guess in a sense, trying to be honest, make myself comfortable with what I am going to have to do in order to get the things that I want. Listen, if most people are blind, right, let's just say most people are blind and not aware of what's going on, not aware of the factors that are controlling their lives, and if you explain it to them, they don't get it, but they have stuff that you need. What do you do? Right? That's the scenario. You're dealing with blind people who are willingly or unwillingly blind. It doesn't matter, really, because but in their blindness they cannot see, and if you show them, they cannot see it. And they have the stuff that you want. What do? You have to work with their blindness. Whatever that means, whatever it means, that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you don't get the stuff, because you don't have the stuff. You don't have the means of production. You don't have all these things. And as we said at the beginning, it is about stuff, and intention is about the getting of stuff. So this brings us full circle back to this ethical place. Dealing with the blind. What do? I think you have to hijack the existing programming to get what you want. There's no other way. That's what's done to you. That's how they got stuff out of you, and that's how you will get stuff out of the system. And videos like this make that plain, right? So I'm not operating in a vacuum. I've clearly stated, if you're blind and unwilling to or unable to come out of that blindness, then you will be hijacked. And you might get mad seeing a video like this because you've been hijacked. I know I've been hijacked, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is because I refuse to be hijacked at this point. Even as, I just refuse to be hijacked. Even as I seek to participate in the system, I'm not going in there with blind eyes. So that's today's episode. And it's really for you to consider what you're going to do in terms of what you're willing to do to get the stuff that you need, and what kind of resources you're willing to access with the timeline available before stuff, before you lose more stuff than you would have gained if you had taken action. So that's what I wanted to share today, and I think it's been very impactful and has simplified it to some basic steps that you can use for repetition, which creates access to energy. I'm going to throw that in. And that's all. I think this was good for today, and that you will most certainly grow, and that if you're seeing this and getting it, you are advancing, I think, far beyond where most people are, and not where we don't want them to be. So I'm not saying that to be separatist. I'm saying that to say that that's basically, I think, the state of affairs now. And if more people come into it, and hey, they invite me to speak on CNBC and I share the same thing, well, then I'm telling everybody the same thing, and they can decide what to do with their blindness, right? And I was once blind, and now I see. It's nothing new. Right? And there's all sorts of kinds of blindness. So I've really enjoyed spending this time with you. I hope that again, that it has moved you to a deeper place, that the bottom lines have been risen in your consciousness. And that's all. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha ve'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Have a great day.